Hello, it's Sheila from the libraries, and you have obviously managed to pick up your Harry Potter pack now from the library, and I would like to tell you how to actually use it. So in your pack you will have a notebook which is completely flat like this one, and you'll also have a wand, and you'll have some brown paint and some gold paint and a paintbrush as well. The only other things you're going to need is something just to cover your table so that you don't get any paint on whatever you're working on at home, and maybe a little bit of water just to clean your brush as well. So you might have two different styles. We've done two different styles of wands. We've just given you one. So one has got what I call a barley twist down it, and the other one has got little rings round it. The technique is the same for both of these. So we're going to start with our notebook, decorating our notebook. So what we need is our brown and our gold paint for this. But first of all, we're going to start with our brown paint. I've got an example here that I've already made. So this is how it's going to look. So it's just folded now. It's got spells, it says spells on the front, and it's got that aged look. So we want it to look like it's really, really old and been really well handled, and it's got lots of interesting spells in it. And maybe to make it look like it's maybe old leather. So it's what we want it to look really worn. So to do that, we need to first of all paint on some brown paint. So I've got my plain blank one here. I'm going to take my brush, and all I'm going to do is I'm just starting to paint that on. Now, the great thing about this is the messier you are, the better it looks, which is normally the opposite of most craft activities. But what we want is we actually want some of the background colour to actually show through, because that gives it a slightly more aged look. So I'm just going to do the front cover just very, very quickly, just so that you've got an idea about what I'm meaning. So there we are there, and you'll notice that we've already put on underneath, you've got lots of little bits of hot glue. These have dried in, and this just gives us a bit more of a textured effect. So we want it so that it's still quite messy and quite see-through as well. You do both sides obviously, and your label, which I've done here, you want to paint that gold. So that's going to be the nice gold colour. I'm just going to clean my brush, and then I'm going to take my gold, and you can just start to layer the gold on. Doesn't matter at all if you end up putting a little bit of gold on the rest of the notebook, because we're actually going to be highlighting little bits of gold on it. Nor does it matter if a little bit of the brown goes on this the label, because that just makes it look really nice and old. So we're working like that. So do the other side as well, and then let that dry completely. And whilst you're letting that dry, what you can go and do is you can start on your wand. So this is one of the wands that I've made already. So this one's got a barley twist on it, and it's got a base of brown, and the barley twist is made out of hot glue, which is set, and we've got a little stone at the top as well. So we want to first of all paint that completely brown, and then we'll do gold highlights. So I'm just going to take one, and I'm just going to start to paint. So easiest thing to do is hold it first of all at the top, and then you can swap it over and hold it at the bottom. So you just start to paint on the brown. So you're wanting the brown paint to go over the entire wand, and you just work your way down. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a wee bit messy, because again, that gives it that lovely old look. So it doesn't matter if you get wee bits showing through too much. So just all the way down, nearly at the bottom. And you do need to use the paints that we gave you, because they're acrylic paint, and acrylic paint paints onto the hot plastic glue that we've used to decorate it. Although if you've got other acrylic paint at home, you can use that. So that's it now painted. There's also a little bit of glue up at the top, just holding the stone in place. You can just very lightly dab a little bit of paint on that as well. So if you just turn it around, best to let it dry a wee bit like that. So it looks like that. So I've got one that's dry already, which I'll show you. But we'll go back to the notebook now, because you have to wait maybe a couple of hours for both of those items to dry. So when you're ready, I'm just going to give my brush a bit of a clean. We then have something that looks like that, and you'll see that it's not completely uniform. So we've got darker and lighter patches, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We then take a clean brush, a little bit of gold paint, and what we want to do is we just want to highlight some of the areas. So if it's raised at all, then it picks up the gold paint, and you can also just brush on a little bit across the whole of the notebook. So all we're going to do is incredibly messy. So you don't need to be at all accurate. And this is what I love about this craft. So any age at all can do it. Obviously, if you really enjoy doing your craft, you can be much neater, but you really don't have to be. And if there's any particular area that you want to highlight more, you just rub on a bit more gold. So all the way across. Like that. And if you feel you've got too much gold paint on, you can just dry your brush. So just dry your brush a little bit, and then you can actually just brush over it when it's still a wee bit damp, just to take off. If you feel you've maybe put a wee bit too much on anywhere, you can just dry it off like that, and that the brush will just remove some of the excess paint. So that's the effect we're going for. And then I've got the label here, and we're going to write spells on it, and we want kind of nice old-fashioned squiggly letters. So I'm going to take your pen, and we're just, you should wait, I should have said, you should wait for your notebook to dry. I don't have time at the moment to do that, so I'm just going to write it on now. And I'm just going to show you what I've done here. So I've written spells, oops, on my notebook. I say let it dry completely before you do that. You'll notice that we've put some little studs on this here as well. You might want to take, afterwards, when it's all dry, take a little bit of your brown paint, just a tiny bit. Get rid of most of it. You have a little bit of paper. I always work with a little bit of paper as well. And then you can actually just very carefully put some little tiny bits on like that. And again, that just, it kind of ages the notebook, and it makes it look like it's quite old. And you might want to put a little bit of a darker line around it as well. Just using that very dry brush, just going over it like that. So that's your notebook. When it's dry completely, you can fold it, crease it like that, and that's your spell book. So that's you ready to write in your Harry Potter spells. So we'll go back now, we'll give our brush a bit of a clean, and we're going to go back to our wand. So this is the wand, so we've painted this one. I've got one that's now dry. So this is how it's looking. So it's just plain brown, and we want to use the same technique again. We just want to highlight the raised parts with a bit of gold. So you never want to use well, you can use a lot of gold if you really like gold, that's fine, but if you don't use too much, it actually makes it look older. And you're just going to brush it on and coming down all the way down. So you're just highlighting, in this case, the candy stripe that's going all the way down like that. And first of all, start off, don't go too mad the first time you're doing it, because you can always add more. It's easier to add more paint than remove the paint. So if I turn that around, you can already see that that's starting, it's just starting to age it, and it's starting to look much more like an old wand, which is what we want. We don't want a brand new wand. And you can then just go over. If you want to remove any paint, just remember, just dry your brush, and quickly, whilst it's still wet, just take your brush and that will just spread it out a bit and remove some of the paint. And that is your Harry Potter wand. So, happy making, everybody. And hopefully I would love to see pictures of your results as well. You might want to post them on our Facebook page. Remember, we've got lots of Harry Potter books in the library. We've got books also about magic, and we're at the start of the Summer Reading Challenge. So why not sign up at the same time, join the Summer Reading Challenge, read 6 books over the whole of the summer holidays, and get a certificate at the end of it. Library staff will be able to tell you more about the Summer Reading Challenge, so please ask. Thanks a lot for watching, and happy making, Harry Potter fans. Bye for now.